Okay, this will be fun. We're going to be reviewing every EVTOL company in the stock market or private. Doesn't matter. And I'm not reviewing them by best to worst. I'm reviewing them by these 5 categories, and these 5 categories are defined for a certain reason. We're going to go over this first before I actually review them. And this is quite interesting. This is going to define where these companies are going. I think some of these companies are going to skyrocket, and in the end of the video you'll see the full chart and you'll kind of get an idea of where you see these companies and which ones are going to skyrocket according to these technologies, these sectors that they're going to disrupt. Now, why are they going to disrupt them? Or forget about the disruption, at least news that these companies are going to disrupt them is just enough for them to go up. And why that's going to come out is, as you know, June 6th, Trump released this Unleashing American Drone Dominance. So what was here was pretty interesting. Now, I'm not going to bore you through all of this, but there is one part that defines what he is doing and what has to go on. And this is the reason a lot of the EVTOL stocks went up in June 6th. A lot of the names you'll see here, you can check out the stocks in the stock market right now. Since June 6th, they went up. I'll note notably XTIA, Archer, Joby. I don't know about Eve and HOVR, right? Airo was not part of that. Liluim, we'll get to that trash. But anyways, so June 6th, from June 6th, 180 days right here. Within 180 days, something needs to happen. And that's why I put here before December 3rd. December 3rd is 180 days. Very key point. Anytime before that, something important will happen and we'll probably hear the news. So what is that? Well, first, within 90 days, cities, looks like states, I guess, or local, tribal or territorial government, from my understanding, whatever, a location has to send a proposal to Trump and request that we want to run a pilot program. So what is this whole bill talking about? They are running 5 pilot programs. Where does it say it? I don't remember, but you can read it for yourself. I don't want to lose this part. They're running 5 pilot programs, and within 90 days, we're going to find out where the locations are. Within 180 days, we're going to find are going to be working with which location. So for example, let's say the city of Miami will be choosing Archer, one of these 5 categories: air mobility, medical, cargo, rural, or autonomy. Actually, to be specific, they mention it right here. I think, do they mention the 5 here? Yes. Okay. At least 5 pilot projects. And interesting, they say here at least. This actually gives me hope for other companies because we have a lot of companies to go through in this video. So stay tuned because I think there's some certain companies that will be really interesting here. So we have at least 5 pilot projects. So that's 5 different locations and at least 5 different companies. And now some companies might be able to get selected twice, but let's see the different sectors. They mention it here actually. So including advanced air mobility, which is basically air taxis, Uber in the air as a service, right? Medical response, so you know, like an ambulance but in the air, right? For quicker and more efficient response. Cargo transportation, pretty simple, you know, we already have that in the aspect of planes, but this will be more for, you know, shorter distance and smaller payloads, because, you know, if you don't want to pay for an entire Boeing, right? And then you have rural access, which this is my favorite, we'll get to. I think this is where a lot of the money can be made in many aspects. This is my favorite. This is super cool. Stay tuned. All right, let's just jump into the boring stuff. So they mention only 4, and as you see here, I have 5 because they said at least 5. I think if we have at least 5 and we only have the 4 categories, then I think air mobility will just be twice. Like maybe we'll have Uber air taxis in Miami and one in New York, right? Or the 5th one could possibly be autonomy. actually. So let's just get that out the way. And that will be Wisk. Wisk will for sure, if that is even a sector, Wisk will for sure take that. If you never heard of Wisk, don't worry, it's not on the stock market, you can't invest in it. But it is quite interesting. It was founded by Larry Page. Larry Page was the founder, creator of Google. So, you know, that in and of itself should say something. And they actually are doing some really cool stuff. They're really focused on just creating like the robo-taxi of flying cars. Really like what Tesla's doing, right? So they're looking at the bigger picture and much more further out. So they're really more like a 20, 30-year plan. I don't think this plan is going to include that, to be honest, because they do mention, if you do read further into it, it is only a 3-year plan, but if it is warranted for national interest, we will extend it. So at least 5 and at least 3 years, could be longer. So that's pretty bullish for this industry. Now Wisk, I'm not sure how they'll play out in that, but I'm just going to put them there because I don't think Wisk will really get in any of these other sectors here. Let's just get rid of autonomy. So also we're going to add Elroy Air. If you haven't heard of Elroy Air, oh, actually Elroy goes in cargo. You know what, let's skip around a little bit. I want to get rid of some names here. So to get them out of the... Elroy is a pretty cool one. You may have never heard of them, but they're strictly focused on cargo. Oh, but they also have autonomy. So they are not moving people, they're just moving cargo autonomously. But really only 300 miles and 300 pounds. It's not a whole lot. I'm actually going to duplicate them and put them under autonomy because there's not really many other companies working on autonomy. And I want to do like top 3 kind of for each, and I'm gonna leave Elroy here because they will be for cargo, maybe number 2, number 3. But yeah, I think that's it for autonomy. I don't think we need a third one because I don't think this sector might even play out. So I want to focus on these. Let's get rid of some of these. So auto flight, it might sound like autonomy, and actually they are kind of working on stuff, but forget about them. And also forget about ehang over here because yeah, we're gonna trash 2 of these because both of these are Chinese companies and they're not at all going to benefit from this bill because, yeah, Trump is not going to work with Chinese companies. And also, I don't even want to give them the time of day. I don't like investing in Chinese companies. Yeah, they can go to the trash and they can go to zero for all I care. Yeah, I'm sorry. Don't like China. So I don't believe in Chinese companies. And yeah, I don't want them to infiltrate Western world with their philosophies and their technologies. I mean, look at TikTok, you know? I don't like that. So, not saying these are anything like TikTok, but still, China runs whatever companies are there. Let's also get rid of Aero real quick. Horrible company. Although, the only merit I'll give them is they already work with the government, so they can possibly easily kind of finagle their way into some sort of contract. So, but I will not put them anywhere here. Their autonomous sector, I mean their EVTOL sector is absolutely horrible and there's nothing going for them there. Alright, what else can we clean up? Liluim, joke of a company. This is like the Nikola of this EVTOL sector. Is Nikola's not even a stock anymore. Liluim, mark my words, will also not be a stock anymore. Volocopter, I'm just going to show you this one real quick. Trash. Look at this ugly looking thing. I mean, this is just, I can't imagine seeing these in the air. Also, they're European based, I think German based, so not that I hate that, actually, not at all. They might, you know, succeed in Europe, that'll be good for them, but just because of that aspect, they will not benefit from the bill, and that's why I'm not going to include them here. Oh, for some big context, I think we mentioned about it. June 6th, when the bill came out, all the stocks went up. When any of these specific stocks get selected for these, they will also go up. And that's why I don't even want to focus on these companies because they have pretty much no chance of being selected. What else? Skyryse also. Oh wait, Skyryse does have a little bit of a chance. Let's leave them here for now. Vertical Aerospace. Vertical Aerospace I actually like. They remind me of Archer pretty early on, but unfortunately, I think they're German-based, European-based, so they do not really apply here. These are all the real contenders that can possibly get some action from this bill. So let's talk about the ones that are least likely to do some action. Let's talk about Skyryse first, actually. The only reason I like this one, first of all, it's not on the stock market. I don't think this will win any of these sectors, but it does already work with the government, I think with the US Army, and I just want to bring it up because they actually have some of the coolest aircrafts I've seen in the EVTOL space, and it looks like it's all for the military. Yeah, they're already with the US Army. So it looks like they already have some connects, firefighting, so they have here clearly medical, aircrafts, business, like a Cessna looking plane, and, for, real military and defense use. And this helicopter looking thing, so this could be for the regular urban air mobility. They have everything, which kind of concerns me. Like, oh, maybe what if they take one of, they can take, I don't know, they can take everything, but it can also take nothing because they focus on too much. And then they have this ground control command, which, what is that? This is just really cool looking. Honestly, their websites are really cool. You may have probably never heard of them, so I just wanted to bring it up because they look really cool. And actually, they're also autonomous. They're working on the most advanced flight automation. But look at this thing. This looks scary to fly. Look how it moves. This looks like a helicopter. It's actually really frightening, not like your typical helicopter. I mean, people are already scared of helicopters, and the whole point of eVTOLs is a safer kind of version of a helicopter, more than a flying car, because let's be real, these eVTOLs are not really flying cars. If they were, you'd be able to also use them to drive on the road, but they're not. They're only for flying, so kind of really, if you think of flying cars, it really doesn't make sense to call them that. They're not cars, they're eVTOLs. But this is really more of a helicopter, so a little bit scary. Just wanted to show it to you. Let's actually make it the third place one for autonomous, since it has autonomy. And yeah, I don't want to put it in the trash because it also does already work with the government, so maybe there's a chance that, if they're doing more than 5 pilots, maybe they're doing the 6th one and Skyryse might get one. Okay, let's just talk about now the orders, because we're not going to talk about companies because some of these will appear multiple times. Air mobility. Archer is first place. I can't say without a doubt because Joby is going to be an easy second place. And then actually, alright, I'm not going to talk about too much about these. You already know about Archer, you already know about Joby. All the other companies I will mention a little bit about, but why Archer over Joby? Look, they already made an agreement in 2028 to work on the LA Olympics. If I'm not mistaken, I think the LA Olympics has to probably get some approval with the government on what they're doing, right? So the fact that they already are working with Archer and not Joby, and Joby's getting approvals and stuff in Saudi Arabia, even though Archer is too. I don't know, Archer just feels like the right choice that the government's going to work with. And the team behind it also is, I think, just feels to me a little bit more like they're going to really give it their all. Like they're not going to lose this contract. And this is the biggest one. Now, also, I should probably put them almost side by side. So instead of one on top of the other, because what if we get 2? Like I was mentioning, we only have 4 sectors defined, and they said 5 are actually going to play out. So I'm going to just put it like this, and I'm going to put third place. Beta is going to be so used, so I'm actually going to put Eve. I like Eve. They're Florida based, and they actually have a pretty cool brand. I like their branding. Their aircraft isn't all that nice, but I like their color, their turquoise color used everywhere. Even just their simple logo and like this V is used a lot. I don't know. I'm a sucker for branding, but their actual product looks a little bit cool, and it's really meant more for air mobility. This is really all where I can see Eve playing out, so I'm gonna leave it there. All right, let's go to the more interesting parts here. Medical, gonna have to give this to Beta. Beta is honestly the best in almost every sector here. I should actually definitely duplicate Beta and give it a fourth place contender for air mobility. If they do make more air mobility pilot programs, Beta really does have a chance in getting in one of them, and probably medical as well, because it just has here. Do we have the website up? Yes. They really have a lot going on for them. They're already working for the government. They just landed this plane in JFK, which is crazy and pretty cool. And they have 2 planes, which is pretty cool. But what's so special about them? Why? Well, okay. Here, their partnerships. They're already working with UPS, I believe with Amazon, and they already have done many flights. They've done cargo flights, they've done medical flights, they've done rural flights, they've done every sector here. They've done all the flights. So they're already like way past working, and they have a facility, I think like 180,000 acre or square feet facility to actually build. And the biggest thing that government also wants to see, other than testing, is scalability. They don't want to see just one plane. They want to see, Beta can scale and build multiple planes. And yeah, I'm gonna have to give Beta also first place for cargo. No. Cargo, we're gonna have to go with Beta also, I think. Yeah, for the same reasons I went with. We're gonna have to go with Beta. And before I get into rural, we're gonna go here with New Horizon for medical for second place. Now Beta and Horizon. Why Horizon second place? Because their EVTOL flies further. Now I know this video is long, but this is where the interesting stuff gets here. Their EVTOL flies 500 miles, whereas Beta, how much does Beta get? I'm pretty sure it's less. We have here, where are their specs? I'm not sure. Under an hour charge time, wingspan. Horizon's really built for medical and cargo, and I personally really like them, and I don't know who else would contend for medical as close to them. Actually, XTIA, my bad. XTIA also is also a pretty good contender, but I would put them more for, okay, they have 1,000 miles of range. That's right. I forgot. XTIA might be good for 1,000 miles of range, good for rural, but we're gonna put them second place. And I'm gonna put XTIA medical for third place here, because they can go really far, really fast, which is really good and efficient. However, Horizon can go really far, and they have a hybrid method, and they're just, I think, a little bit more, well, I'm just going to be biased and put them here. But actually, Horizon, where they might win, is rural aircraft. And I want to talk about this in a moment. This is a huge opportunity. I think they're going to win this. I think the fact that this is number 1 for me here is so bullish. If they really win this, this is what I wanted to talk about the most. If they win this, they can grow so much. I'm going to put Beta here for number 2. Actually, no. XTIA rural number 2, because we can go 1,000 miles. Oh no, 1,000 miles, but it's a little too fast and inefficient. Beta is more efficient, and the reason what I like about rural here is this will allow people to live far away. You'll be able to have a farm, let's say, and go to the city. You'll be able to just live in a house, a big house, rather than an apartment in a building, because, well, every apartment in a city now costs $1 million plus, but you can buy a house for $1 million plus in a rural area. And instead of having a car, you can have a plane, if they make cheap enough planes. HOVR, I think, will be that perfect blend, because they are making hybrid planes. So you're not only going to need to have electric, you don't have to charge. You won't even have to have a charger. You can charge in the city and just fuel up, in the city, in the rural areas. So I think for that reason alone, Hover will win this. And if they do, and this is a guaranteed, it's written here that rural is one of the, right here, rural access is one of the pilot programs. And I think Hover is going to blow up. This is my favorite stock, and I'm going to be buying more. And right now it's a pretty good price, to be honest. Actually a great price, 50 million market cap. Even if we go up to $5, still a good price. And I think we're going to $10 plus, but don't mark my words. You'll see, we'll see. We have about until December 3rd to see where this goes. Now XTIA will not play in cargo. Elroy we're going to put in cargo because Elroy, as you saw, it's actually literally just built for cargo. As you can see, beta here is in everything other than autonomy. Elroy is interestingly in cargo and autonomy, but they only carry 300 pounds. So actually, I'm going to put Elroy down here. I'm actually going to put beta down here. And to blow your minds, I actually think beta is, it likely could win cargo because it really is doing a lot already and is able to scale, and cargo will, UPS, Amazon, big companies, FedEx will want to work with them. So, you know what? Beta actually should be number one. They're more likely to win. But I'm going to give it a close second because HOVR can carry more than beta. HOVR can carry 1,500 pounds, 500 miles too. So it doesn't need to charge all the time like beta will. It can do multiple trips until it charges, and then you send a new plane, right? And then it can carry more. So, that in of itself makes it worth it for them. But Elroy, you don't need a pilot, even though it can carry 300 pounds. The fact that you don't need a pilot costs less in labor. They have also, a potential to win this in some small way. So I'm going to leave them here at the third. And HOVR here for medical as second, beta for first. Also pretty fair, I think. Actually, Joby should also probably be under medical. I don't think XTIA, definitely not XTIA. Actually, yeah, XTIA, didn't they claim to be, where is their website? I think they claimed here, they claim to be able to maximize critical missions, and I'm not sure. Yeah, I guess they could because they can go really fast, like we said. So we're gonna leave them and Joby as a equal third. Joby actually has a possibility to be like short, short within the city medical transportation. So instead of an ambulance kind of thing, whereas XTIA might be more like a mix of medical for rural areas. But actually, that's where New Horizon plays. But one thing is for sure here, now that we look at this chart, now that we're done, all the number ones here, Archer, Beta, I don't know if Joby will actually even get any contract. It probably will. It honestly probably will. But if you just want the top, Archer and Beta are for sure getting contracts. Horizon, HOVR, I honestly think they're for sure getting a contract, which will be crazy because we're at a $50 million market cap. The stock will explode, absolutely explode. And rural will be a really big business because this will open, once they do this, I think people will realize they can live far away, and this will open like a whole new industry in real estate. It'll expand real estate, and people will build suburbs and rural areas differently. We might not even need roads as much, right? We might focus, more on air traffic control than, building new bridges, right? So I think this sector alone is really, really interesting. Whereas these cargo, medical, air mobility, these kind of already exist. We're just making them better. Rule is like building a whole new potential industry, a whole new TAM, really. So I love that for many reasons. And if Horizon wins it, to the moon we go. And then the fact that Horizon is possible contenders for these two other industries, I mean, it's kind of crazy, honestly. Like this bill here, people are buying up Archer and Joby, but I think the real play here is New Horizon Aircraft. This is really becoming my favorite company more and more. I look into all of this EVTOL stuff, and wow, I'm just really liking what I'm seeing. Beta, also super great company. I wish I could invest. Did I not mention that you can't? They're also private, just like Wisk. Well, I think I didn't mention that till now. XTIA is kind of last place contenders for a lot of these, but they already work with the government. So, you know, just like Skyryse and I think Elroy already works with the government also too in beta. Damn, a lot of these kind of already work with the government. So I don't know what XTIA will really do. They probably won't really win anything, but for the little chance that they do, I actually am buying a little bit of XTIA because they're nice and cheap again. Maybe just for some news, they might blow up. There is news within the 90 days that some cities are going to be, you know, who's going to be the cities that will be working with the government. So if it happens to be, I don't know, what could it be? If it happens to be a city that maybe is near XTIA or whatever, maybe it blows up. Or just the fact that they're announcing cities, people are reminded of eVTOLs, and XTIA is a small one, so it could blow up, just like it did after June 6th. So I'm liking XTIA, and honestly, all of these that you see on here, well, all of these big ones in the top two, really. I actually kind of like, but I'm actually not really buying it, to be honest. Their market cap's already pretty big, and I don't see too much upside. But I do really like their company, their branding, and yeah, and they have a nice simple mission, I guess. But nothing too special going on for them that I would really consider over Archer, Joby, and Horizon. Even XTIA, I'm buying that over Eve. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. If you watched till now, thanks for watching. And yeah, I think this is my longest, but I think this is one of my best and my favorite video, because yeah, the deeper I dive into this, the more I like Horizon Aircraft, and I think I'm gonna make more videos on HOVR, because yeah, this baby's going to the moon, I think. Anyways, until next time, guys, stay thinking, question everything, and peace the fuck out.